You walk into a store to buy a new pair of glasses, maybe sunglasses, maybe prescription. You see a wall of options: Ray-Ban, Oakley, Persol, Coach, Prada, Chanel, Versace. You feel like you have a choice. You pick the one you like, you look at the price tag, and you feel that little sting. $300, $400, even $500 for a piece of plastic and two small pieces of glass. You probably think, well, that's just what they cost. But what if I told you that feeling of choice is a complete illusion? What if almost all of those brands are owned by the exact same company? A secretive Italian giant that built an empire by making you think you're shopping around, when in reality, every dollar is flowing back to the same place. This isn't an accident, it's a strategy. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how this invisible monopoly was built, how it controls what you buy, and how to finally escape it.
To understand how this happened, you have to realize that glasses weren't always a fashion statement. For a long time, they were just a medical device. You went to an eye doctor, they gave you a prescription, and you bought a pair of simple, functional frames from a small, independent shop. The industry was totally fragmented. You had thousands of small factories making frames, thousands of labs grinding lenses, and tens of thousands of little optical shops selling them. No single company had any real power. It was a local business. Then, in 1961, a young man in a small town in the Italian Alps changes everything. His name was Leonardo Del Vecchio. He started a tiny workshop making parts for eyeglass frames. He was smart, ambitious, and he saw something that nobody else did. He saw that this scattered, disorganized industry was vulnerable. Strategically, he believed that if one company could control the entire process, from the factory that makes the frame all the way to the store that sells it to you, that company could set its own prices and become unbelievably powerful. This is where the game begins. Del Vecchio's company was called Luxottica, and for the first 20 years, they just focused on one thing: becoming the best manufacturer. They built better factories, they were more efficient, they supplied frames to other brands. But making things for other people wasn't the end game. The real goal was control. So in the 1980s, Luxottica made its first big move. They started buying the brands themselves. First, they bought iconic Italian brands. Then, in 1999, they made a legendary purchase. They bought Ray-Ban. At the time, Ray-Ban was struggling. The quality had gone down, and you could buy a pair of aviators at a gas station for about $29. Luxottica bought the company, took all the products off the shelves, moved production to their high-tech factories in Italy, and dramatically increased the quality. And then they dramatically increased the price. That $29 gas station pair of sunglasses was re-released as a premium $150 luxury item, and it sold like crazy. They had the formula: buy a famous brand name, control the manufacturing, and then set the price to whatever you want. They did it again in 2007, buying Oakley, the other massive American sunglass brand, in a hostile takeover. So now they owned two of the biggest names in the world. But owning the brands wasn't enough, because you still had to go to a store to buy them, and those stores could choose to sell other cheaper brands. So Luxottica had to solve that problem. How do you do that? You buy the stores too. In 1995, they bought LensCrafters, the biggest optical retailer in North America. Then they bought Sunglass Hut, Pearl Vision, Target Optical, Sears Optical. Think about that for a second. The company that makes the Ray-Bans also owns the Sunglass Hut where you buy the Ray-Bans. This is the moment you, the customer, start to feel stuck. You walk into the mall,
You want to price shop. You go into Sunglass Hut, it's all Luxottica brands. You go to LensCrafters, it's all Luxottica brands. You go to the glasses section at Target, it's run by Luxottica. You think you're doing the smart thing, comparing prices, but you're just walking from one room of the same house to another. The illusion of choice is complete, and your wallet is the one that pays the price. So how does this system actually work to keep prices so high? The best way to think about it is like a walled garden. It's a brilliant business strategy called vertical integration, but walled garden is easier to picture. It works in 3 simple steps. First, you build the wall. This is the manufacturing. Luxottica built and bought the best factories in the world. They control the raw materials, the machines, the labor. This gives them a massive cost advantage. It might only cost them $10 to $20 to produce a high-quality designer frame. This wall keeps competitors out. It's almost impossible for a new small company to build factories that can compete on that scale. Second, you plant all the trees inside the garden. This is the branding. Luxottica didn't just buy Ray-Ban and Oakley, they also signed exclusive license deals to make and sell glasses for nearly every major fashion house you can think of. Chanel, Prada, Burberry, Dolce & Gabbana, Michael Kors, Coach. So when you're agonizing over whether to buy the Versace frames or the Coach frames, you're just deciding which of Luxottica's products to buy. They win either way. And third, the most important step, you own the only gate into the garden. This is the retail. By owning Sunglass Hut and LensCrafters, Luxottica controls the primary sales channels. They decide which brands get the best shelf space. Guess which ones they pick? Theirs, of course. This system puts a chokehold on the entire industry. It's not illegal. It's just an incredibly ruthless and effective business strategy. They control the making, they control the branding, and they control the selling. And that is how you can charge $400 for something that costs $20 to make. You would think that controlling the frames and the stores would be the end of the story, that the empire was complete. But there was one piece of the puzzle still missing. The most important part of a pair of glasses: the lenses. For decades, the world's largest maker of eyeglass frames, Luxottica, and the world's largest maker of prescription lenses, a French company called Essilor, were separate. They were 2 giants, each controlling their own piece of the industry. But in 2018, they merged. They created a new mega corporation, EssilorLuxottica, a company worth over $70 billion. This was the final move, the checkmate. Now, one single company makes the frames for brands like Ray-Ban and Prada. They also make the high-end prescription lenses from Essilor and Verilux that go into those frames. And they sell the finished product to you at stores they own, like LensCrafters and Sunglass Hut. The reason this feels so frustrating is that glasses aren't just a fashion accessory. For hundreds of millions of people, they are an essential medical device. You need them to work, to drive, to live your life. And a single company has achieved near total control over the market for them. So, if you've ever felt like you're being ripped off when buying glasses, you need to understand this. It is not your fault. You're not bad with money. You're not failing to find a good deal. You are playing a game on a board that has been tilted against you for decades. The system is designed to make you overpay. So what can you actually do about it? Knowing all this is one thing, but how do you save money on your next pair of glasses? It's actually simpler than you think. You don't need to protest or change the world. You just need to know where to look. The entire EssilorLuxottica empire is built on controlling the choices you see in the physical world, in the mall, on the main street. Their one weakness? The internet. The rise of online, direct-to-consumer companies has created the first real challenge to their dominance in 50 years. So here is a simple 3-step framework. First, stop assuming brand names mean different companies. The next time you're shopping, do a quick search. Who owns brand name eyewear? 9 times out of 10, the answer will be Luxottica. Simply being aware of the illusion is the first step to breaking free from it. Second, start exploring independent and online brands. Companies like Warby Parker, Zenni Optical, or Glasses USA. These companies cut out the middleman. They design their own frames, source their own materials, and sell directly to you online. This is why they can offer frames and lenses for a fraction of the price. They are outside the walled garden. You can often get a complete pair of high-quality prescription glasses for under $100, sometimes a lot less. And third, understand the long-term game. Every time you choose to buy from an independent competitor, you are casting a vote. You're sending a signal to the market that the inflated prices of the monopoly are not acceptable. Realistically, you don't have to completely boycott the big brands. Maybe you just really love the look of a certain pair of Oakleys, and that's fine. But now you know why they cost so much, and you know that you have other more affordable options for your second pair, your prescription sunglasses, or your everyday glasses. The power isn't in fighting the giant, it's in realizing you don't have to play in his garden at all. For over half a century, one company masterfully built a hidden empire by creating a powerful illusion of choice. They bought the factories, they bought the brands, and they bought the stores, leaving you to wander through a maze where all paths lead back to them. But now, you can see the walls of the garden. You understand the game. The most powerful tool you have as a consumer isn't just your money, it's your awareness. It's knowing how the system truly works. And now you know that when it comes to eyewear, the real choice isn't between the dozens of brands you see on the shelf. It's between playing their expensive game or finding a better one somewhere else. If this opened your eyes to how hidden forces shape your spending, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. We explore stories like this every week. Let me know in the comments, did you have any idea that all these brands were connected? Up next, we're looking at the company that brilliantly convinced an entire generation that they needed to pay $5 for a bottle of water. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching.